Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the White Sands Self Care Community. I am your host, Laura Cross, and I am super excited to have with me today Kate Glendon. She has calls the former Hot Mess Express to self confidence coach. So, my first question for you is, why do you refer to yourself as the Hot Mess Express?
That's a great question, and thank you so much for having me here today. I think that the reason I call myself that is because I want to be honest, and I don't always have it together. I didn't for a while. I was struggling with my inner self, doubting myself, telling myself stories and limiting beliefs, always running late or forgetting things. And just seemed to be living a life that was less than and more for other people. So I just felt like a hot mess because I didn't really know how to get my stuff together. And, I just really like that term. I showed up anyways and I continued, trying to be my best. And I did a lot of inner work, and confidence was one of those things that came out of it that I realized I was lacking because I was always seeking external validation from others. So I really wanted to work on that. And that's kind of how I started my business.
So, and I love that because, obviously we don't always get it all spit out correctly the first time, but it's okay. I always say it's okay because it shows that you're just being authentic and, yourself. If it's scripted, I don't know about you, but me, if I'm trying to do something scripted, it just looks like I'm in pain. And I'm like, okay, who wants to watch that?
Yeah.
So I can relate to the hot mess express. Although I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you're so organized." I'm like, "Well, I try to be, but things go wrong sometimes."
Right. You don't see the mess behind um, the persona that you're seeing right now. So,
Yeah.
and I think I just want to be honest about that because I don't think anyone can be perfect. We can try, we can strive, but I think perfection can really run us into a rut.
I've been known as a perfectionist as well, and yeah, it's a hard thing to ditch, but you really do have to ditch that because it's like, nobody's being perfect. Being perfect just means you're like waiting forever for something to be perfect. You'll never, to me, you never really truly move forward, if you're waiting for everything to be perfect and to be right. Um, so
Exactly. You're just watching your life go by because, waiting for the best weather to do this, or, when I get to here, then I'll do this. No, you should live your life now.
yeah. So so tell me, Laura, how would you work with your clients? I know you work with clients. Do you work with them with self confidence, all different realms?
That's a great question. So I have certifications. I have my master's in public health. I'm a certified professional life coach and mindset coach. But what I really do is work with individuals who are just spinning in circles. They're, people pleasers. They have this feeling of not being good enough, looking for their self-worth, ready to stop worrying at 3 a.m. about everything everyone has said to them the day before. So, really finding out where each client is, it's so authentically created for the client that I'm working with because everyone's concerns are different. And I want to make sure that my program goes with them. So, a lot of it is just remembering in the beginning, like, what you like about yourself, what you're good at, like what are you telling yourself that's not helpful? And a lot of that is just like, putting a line down the paper. Like, what does it feel like when you have this thought? How could you reframe it? How do you want to feel? What are some future goals and memories that you want to make? Could you continue on feeling, poorly about yourself for how much longer? Like, how we don't realize that when we're not feeling good in our body and our mind and our soul, it has a ripple effect on our whole entire being. And we want to be able to walk into a room with confidence and own it no matter what situation we're in. And that's what I really want my clients to get out of the coaching experience, is just to be able to handle whatever challenges life throws at them without feeling bad about themselves or worrying about it where it becomes, taking over their mind.
So how did you come to that, being a self-confident coach? I mean, was there something, I'm sure you didn't wake up or when you're, most of us have all these other dreams. We normally don't wake up and say, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do." I would imagine something happened to lead you to that.
Yeah, so exactly. Like, self-confidence. is something I always struggled with. So, I mean, I'm not going to be, hot mess, former hot mess, I didn't have it all together. And I was tired of having like pesky negative feelings that were, echoing in my head that I couldn't be enough. I wasn't smart enough, whatever it was. And then I was realizing I was holding myself back professionally in my relationships. I was playing small just to avoid conflict. I, was afraid to use my voice of being rejected or ridiculed. I stayed in, personal, professional, and relationships that, weren't the best for me. And I decided that I really couldn't be living in this place of, waking up all the time, of worrying about the day, the upcoming events, what interaction was that, where I was invited out to, scrolling social media to see what I was missing out on. I just like couldn't stand that. Like I couldn't stand my own thoughts, my own body. So I was like, I need to do some work. And I, started doing some journaling just to get everything out to realize what is just a feeling that I've turned into a thought that I think is a fact, but it's not necessarily true. And, how can I switch my outlook and take back my life and really build my own inner self and power and find my voice? And that's kind of how I started crushing self-doubt and imposter syndrome, just from, remembering everything that I'm good at, creating future memories of how I want to feel, where I want to work, and really believing in myself. So that's what I, help to teach my clients with because the negative stories that I was telling myself wasn't working. So things like calendar integrity, showing up and doing what I say I'm supposed to do rather than just like faking it or, putting it off and procrastinating, making goals and that I want to achieve and milestones and what are those challenges that are holding me back, as well as what is the person I want to be? What are those person traits? And what do I need to do or act like to show up that every day?
Yeah, I think we all have the negative talk, or I call it head trash. You playing that bad
Yes.
broken record of, whether it was your perception of maybe of how you were treated or somebody actually said something, you think you've tucked it down, but it all plays a role, and it's a bad broken record and stuff just over and over in your head. And so, and you obviously don't look like a hot mess anymore.
Thank
So
you.
I,
Yes, it was a lot of work to really not be so paranoid and consumed with everyone else's opinions of me, you know. And it's something that, I kind of struggled with my whole life. And, I used to be embarrassed about it, but now I just own it, and I'm moving on into a different direction.
yeah, it's part of life. And I think that helps make you even more relatable, to people that you can work with. Cause there's nothing worse than trying to work with someone and they have never even experienced or been down that road, but yet they think they can help. And it's like, so
Yeah, you want to be able to talk to someone that has empathy for what you've been, what you're feeling and going through, and also kind of have that real feeling that, pit in your stomach based on what you're feeling because they've done it too. I find that so helpful.
and it's obviously made a big difference. What are the biggest changes and stuff that you've noticed between, as far as having that self-confidence from where you were before, um, the changes and the impacts it's made in your life?
Yeah, so, I ended friendships that were no longer serving me, that I was seeking approval from. I changed careers. I was able to have enough confidence to start my own life coaching business, and really just being able to not be afraid to put my opinion in when needed. And I think that's really important because if we don't make those small changes, then, you're going to stay stuck doing the same crazy thing over and over again. We spend so much time, at work or with other people, but if they're just, not raising up your vibration, it's really just putting yourself down. So I, wanted to be at a higher status. And, some of that had to be a reflection of what was impacting my life for the best and what wasn't. And that was just the start of it.
Yeah, I've gone down a similar road, and I've worked with a confidence coach and stuff before because again, you get that head trash and you'll see these people and they look like they just have it so together. And you tend to put them on this pedestal, but if you talk to any of them and if they're real, a lot of them will tell you it wasn't always that way. That it's been a challenge and that you don't just pop up that way. And so
No, very few people do. Or they had something that, changed them. And so I think it's so important to be able to learn how to ditch your self-doubt so you actually believe in yourself that you can do things because otherwise we just hold ourselves back. So I wanted just to feel better. I want others to feel better and not have to go through, over 30 years, almost 40 years feeling this way.
yeah, absolutely. And I know we'll go into more detail on some of these topics on the Mindful Mondays episode that you'll have coming up soon. But what do you have? So how do you work with people now? Are you doing mostly one-on-one coaching? Do you have online programs? Do you do retreats?
Great question. So right now I have one-on-one virtual coaching that I do. I have a lot of resources on my website, glendoncoaching.com, and an email list that if you subscribe to it, you automatically get overcoming, negative talk worksheets to help guide you. Not only good for yourself, but for your family if you have someone struggling with something. And there's different levels of coaching packages. So if someone's interested, I do have on my website, you can book a free call with me and we can talk further about, where we're going to go working together.
Yeah, and we'll make sure your website and everything is in the comments below. But I think that plays a big part too, because when you start to be okay with, I don't just say be okay, but be good with who you are and
Accept
you have that
yourself.
accept yourself and you have that self-confidence, it changes a lot. I think it kind of changes the way you communicate with people. Everybody always, I've had people talk because if you've heard Jim Rohn, you know that you're like the five people that you're part of the five people that you surround yourself with. And I went through a phase in life where I felt like everybody I was attracting was like nothing but drama. And I'm like, okay, we all got issues, but and then until I had someone tell me that it's not them, it's you. And I'm like, okay, so I realized I had to make some changes because I was letting that in, allowing it to happen and not like setting those boundaries. It's not that I don't care, but you have to learn to set those boundaries to say, hey, it's not healthy for me. And they sort themselves out. I always call people sort themselves out. So
They do,
yeah,
yes. What we think we attract. Um, and it's a hard pill to swallow, right? We're just responsible for our actions and how people treat us is all about them.
yeah, yeah. So, and where exactly are you located? I know you can work with clients online, so it won't really matter too much, but you're in
I'm in New England. I'm in Connecticut, so
in
Central
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yes. Okay. I wanted
Um,
to say East Coast, but yeah.
East Coast,
Yeah.
yes. That's where I'm located, born and raised here.
Beautiful. So, anything else did you want to share with people? I know because we don't have a lot of time to go into big details with the things, but um, what are you looking to go? Are you do you think you'll be doing retreats in the future or?
Yes, I'm getting ready to gear up for a 3-day, workshop on virtual to talk about different self-confidence boosters, self-esteem, kind of ways to combat imposter syndrome. So, um, be on the lookout for that. It will be on my social media. It will be on my website, and so that will be one of virtual retreat that I'll be doing. So I'm very excited about that.
That is awesome. So, okay, well, I was gonna say we only had a couple minutes left, so I want to really thank you for coming out here because
Oh,
the
of
whole
course.
idea of these interviews is to help everybody else in the group get an idea and a sense of who you are, how you can help them. And I know we can dive a lot deeper into these subjects because I know you have a lot of great information to share with people and that you can help people. So I really look forward to doing that with you. But I
Yes,
want,
I do too.
yeah, but I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I will make sure all your contact information is in the comments below. So anyone that is struggling with those things that we were talking about, your self-confidence, the head trash and all of that stuff, definitely visit our website the newsletter is going to give them You said the tips and stuff
Yeah,
next
so
5.
definitely sign up. And you can always ask me any questions and email my emails on my website and it'll be, directly talking to me.
Awesome. Thanks again, Kate, for joining us today.
Yes,
And
nice to meet everyone here. Have a great
yeah,
day.
and please, that's what this group's for. So make sure you guys interact with everybody else and stuff in the group, because really that is what is this is designed for, is to provide those education and resources, the connection and the collaboration. So, definitely connect with these people, whether you do it in private and message or message in the group, but that's what we're all here for, is to provide that support. So make sure you reach out. So
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.